Sono qui con noi Daria Graziosi e Salvatore Esposito.
Eccoci!
Benvenuti a tutti! Ecco, l'abbiamo detto proprio all'unisono perché è una puntata, una delle tante puntate veramente speciali, perché abbiamo qui con noi un ospite assolutamente speciale, vero Salvo?
Sì, lui è attore, scrittore, regista, tra l'altro ha lavorato in tantissime produzioni a livello internazionale, Daria. Stasera abbiamo un pezzo grosso.
Da 90, allora ve lo presentiamo subito perché abbiamo il piacere di avere qui con noi Brian Gaskill. Benvenuto Brian!
È qui con noi Rosario Paolo Saia.
Ti avevo dimenticato, tanta era la foga ad iniziare.
All'inizio pensavo stessi parlando di me, quindi ho detto vabbè, tutto normale, no? Bravo.
E invece no, tanta era l'emozione, la foga che ho presentato prima il nostro ospite e poi vabbè Rosario,
L'autore.
non t'ho pensato per niente, il nostro meraviglioso autore, interprete, senza di lui non sarebbe possibile proprio fare la puntata per motivi proprio di incomprensione.
Adesso io punto lui, quindi è una catena di Sant'Antonio praticamente.
Benissimo.
Praticamente tutto voi, ha aggiunto anche Salvatore, tutto il resto, quindi ha lavorato in tantissime soap opere,
Certo.
programmi, e quindi abbiamo il piacere di presentarvi Brian Gaskill. Via con la scheda.
Brian Gaskill è nato il 22 gennaio 1970 a Honolulu ed è cresciuto nel New Jersey. È attore, scrittore, regista e artista. Nel 1993 si è diplomato al conservatorio di Sony Purchase. Nel 1994 debutta nella serie Models Inc. Nel 1995 è stato scelto per il personaggio di Bobby Warner nella soap opera La Valle dei Pini. Nel 2001 è apparso nel ruolo di Rafikovic in Port Charles, lo spin-off di General Hospital, e successivamente come Oscar Marone in Beautiful, dal 2003 al 2004. Nel 2005 si è unito al cast di Così gira il mondo come BJ Green. Nel 2007 è entrato in Sentieri come Dylan Lewis, il figlio di Riva Shane. Durante la sua carriera, Brian ha anche diretto video musicali e dipinto opere d'arte. È qui con noi Brian Gaskill.
Eccolo!
Hey.
Ciao Brian!
Hey,
Hi,
ciao.
Brian. Thank
Hey.
you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Grazie per essere qui.
Thank
Can
you
you
for
hear
having
us?
me. Yeah, I hear you.
Ok.
Allora io direi di iniziare immediatamente la nostra solita chiacchierata. Sei pronto, Ross?
Certo.
Prontissimo proprio.
Ok, Daria.
Allora, attore, scrittore, regista, cosa ami di più?
You are an actor, a writer, director. What do you like to do the most?
I mean, I've made a living as an actor. I didn't make a living as the other two things, but generally, I mean, lately, what I've enjoyed the most is really, you didn't mention the artist part, and really that's where I get like my release, that I can just express myself on a canvas and just know that it's done. I don't have to count on other people to hire me. I don't have to count on tons of people and tons of money to make something happen. As an artist, you can just get some paint and a canvas and express yourself and put that out into the world. And so that's been it's been a great discovery, actually, since COVID hit, that I just started like painting and then, not as a job, a hobby, but it's something that where I can actually get my expression out. So that's been really, it's been the best part lately.
Ok, ovviamente dice che non ha citato l'artista perché quello lo ritiene soltanto un hobby che è partito praticamente nel periodo del Covid, del lockdown, e quindi aveva iniziato a dipingere così come hobby e si è divertito parecchio perché ha potuto esprimere parecchio se stesso. Ovviamente gli piace molto la recitazione perché insomma gli permette di esprimersi al meglio. Capita insomma così che conosci quando fai l'artista conosci molte persone, quindi tonnellate di persone, però dipende insomma anche da dove ti trovi e cosa fai. Però insomma la recitazione e la scrittura sono state sempre le attività che gli sono piaciute di più, malgrado insomma riesce anche a tenere insomma l'hobby della pittura come quando può insomma gli piace insomma imbrattare tele.
Allora, prima nella scheda abbiamo visto che comunque tu hai interpretato Oscar nella soap longeva Beautiful, ma ti ricordi il provino che hai dovuto sostenere in questa produzione?
Do you remember your audition for your role in The Bold and the Beautiful?
Right, which I heard I recognized what he was saying because he said, I think in Italy it's just called Beautiful, right? I didn't actually audition for it. I was coming off a very successful run on a show called Port Charles, in which I was playing this angel, and it's a very supernatural storyline, and it was pretty successful. The show was canceled because it was just not on enough stations, but where it was popular, it was really popular. So I was able to just go into a meeting that I was called into, and they were basically offering me the role. So I just had to decide whether I wanted to do it or not. And that's. I feel like I should give shorter answers now that I know you're translating. So I'm afraid to keep talking because then you're going to have to say it all again.
No problem. Allora, lui dice che in realtà ricorda molto bene la storia, come è andata, perché non ha fatto in realtà il provino per Oscar in Beautiful. Lui tra l'altro aveva appena ottenuto un forte successo con Port Charles, che è praticamente lo spin-off di General Hospital, e lì interpretava un personaggio un po' strano, una specie di angelo che aveva insomma una trama quasi soprannaturale, no? E quindi però nonostante quel discreto successo poi alla fine la soap è stata cancellata, quindi ricorda che gli era capitato insomma questa offerta di Beautiful, non ha sostenuto il provino e ha iniziato insomma a interpretare il ruolo di Oscar.
Hai ricordi o aneddoti che vuoi condividere con noi?
Do you have any particular memories or anecdotes you want to share?
From Beautiful? From Bold and Beautiful?
Yeah.
I met a lot of really good people there. It was the most interesting thing about that show was when I came on. For me, in order to play that character, I kind of wanted to make it more interesting for me, so I kind of added this sort of New Jersey, New York accent, which wouldn't come across when you're watching it in Italy. But I took some risks that I had fun with, but they weren't necessarily the most popular thing with the audience. I don't think they believed that somebody who had long blonde hair like I did at the time would sound like they were, like this, related to the mob kind of accent. So, but I'm from the Jersey Shore and I grew up, to me it didn't matter. Everyone sounded like that. Anyway, I just enjoyed I had for the first 3 or 4 months I had a really good time playing the part, and then they slowly, as they do on a lot of these shows, they start to change. You come on like all edgy and interesting, and then they start to change you and make your woman happy and make everything nice, and then they said start talking differently. So I was gonna change my accent and sound more like myself, and so it just started to feel strange after that. But I honestly I just had a really good time there. So I don't have any particular exact stories though.
Ok, dice che è stata una cosa interessante perché quando è entrato per interpretare quel personaggio ha cercato di renderlo un po' più accattivante, anche dandogli un accento tipo del New Jersey, no? Di New York, e quindi ha cercato di personalizzarlo un po'. E si è divertito parecchio, ha riscosso un discreto successo quindi nel pubblico, e era un personaggio anche legato alla mafia, che aveva un accento un po' così, e quindi lui insomma ha cercato di curarlo in questi dettagli. Doveva partecipare soltanto per qualche mese, quindi per i primi 3 o 4 mesi, ma poi la parte appunto riscuoteva successo, e quindi è durato molto di più. E quindi insomma gli è piaciuto parecchio interpretare questo ruolo, anche se come sai alcune volte possono essere un po' insomma non molto simpatici, no? Un po' spigolosi personaggi come quelli di Oscar, però insomma è stata una bella esperienza e si è divertito parecchio. Mi sa che abbiamo anche un video.
Sì, Brian, abbiamo un video da farti vedere e insomma guardiamolo insieme.
There is a video for you.
See, that's why everybody hated me. The main reason people didn't really like my character is because I had anything to do with Macy dying.
Dice ecco perché tutti mi odiavano, perché il motivo principale al quale insomma la gente la associava è che il suo personaggio era legato con la morte di Macy, che era il personaggio, insomma uno dei personaggi principali e molto amati.
Sì. Senti Brian, ma con quale collega hai preferito lavorare, perché poi sei rimasto anche in contatto con qualcuno del cast?
Who did you prefer to work with and why? And have you kept in touch with any of the cast?
I didn't really. The only person that I stayed friends with to some degree is Kelly, Catherine Kelly Lang. And I never really worked with her on the show, but we became friends, and I stayed friends with her. Jennifer Finnegan was a great scene partner, and I don't, for whatever reason, the actors that I've worked with through the years, I haven't always kept in touch because I tend to live a very kind of quiet life, and maybe I'm a little bit of an introvert. I didn't have I've seen them. We bump into each other. We work on different things together. We see each other, but I don't, like I said, I was able to maintain a bit of a friendship with Catherine Kelly Lang, but other than that, no, I didn't stay in touch with Jennifer.
Ok, allora come cast, come personaggio, come attori del cast ricorda con molto affetto l'attrice Catherine Kelly Lang che interpreta tuttora Brooke Logan in Beautiful e anche l'attrice Jennifer Finnegan che ha interpretato una delle diverse Bridget Forrester. Dice che fondamentalmente lui non è molto, forse addirittura un po' introverso, quindi non è facile che mantenga dei rapporti anche così, insomma, a distanza, però ricorda con affetto appunto entrambe queste attrici con cui si è trovato molto bene a lavorare insieme.
E ha interpretato anche Dylan Lewis in Sentieri. È sempre difficile essere il recast di un altro attore?
Did you also play Dylan Lewis in Guiding Light? Is it easy to recast another actor?
It's I did play Dylan Lewis, and playing a character that somebody else played is something that happens in the daytime drama here all the time, because these shows go on a really long time, and you don't necessarily. Sometimes it happens sort of rudely when people get recast, but sometimes it's like years later in this case, and the actor wasn't available or he didn't feel like coming back, so they want to tell the story, so they have to bring somebody back. So at the time, I wanted to work, and that was the job being offered, and I was excited to work with some actors I hadn't worked with before, but it was definitely not my desire to ever play a character that somebody else had played. That was not my goal, certainly. It's difficult. It's difficult with the fans to sort of take the place of that person that they're so used to, and it's not a position I wanted to put myself in. But nevertheless, it's, you're an actor. You go to do your job, and you do the best you can. So I had a good time with the actors there.
Ok, ovviamente come era facilmente prevedibile, insomma un po' immaginare, non è proprio non era il suo obiettivo interpretare un ruolo che era già stato creato da un altro attore, anche perché lui veniva anche dal prime time, quindi passare al daytime per un attore non è proprio il top, però lui insomma aveva accettato di buon grado questa offerta. La produzione voleva riportare sulle scene questo personaggio, l'attore precedente non era disponibile e allora si è trovato lui in quella situazione e ha accettato. Lui tra l'altro ha interpretato più o meno per 8 mesi il personaggio di Dylan Lewis, che aveva insomma a che fare con la figlia Daisy, insomma era sempre adolescente, un adolescente che creava problemi, interpretava appunto il figlio di Riva, quindi di Kim Zimmer, e come la maggior parte degli attori in quel periodo, la produzione per risparmiare un po' di denaro li aveva messi li aveva insomma da contratto passati a recurring, quindi era questa la situazione in quel periodo.
Hai qualche ricordo del cast di Sentieri?
Do you have any memories of your colleagues of Guiding Light?
Yeah, I mean, no. let's make this interesting. Let's make it this really interesting interview. I'm sorry. Yeah, of course. Again, for me, it's just, see, when you're doing these shows, everything happens really fast. So you go in and you do your work and you do your scenes, and the way the schedules used to be when I was younger, you spent all day hanging out with everybody and you rehearsed together, and then you waited for your scenes to come up and you were still hanging out. Eventually they started saving time by just bringing people in when they were going to do their own work. And when you go in to do the scenes, I mean, it's a lot like theater, and you're just, with no rehearsal. So you maybe you run the scene once and then you tape it, but you're trying to get through it. You're not trying to mess up. You're trying to just do it, and then they shoot it and it's done. Not a lot of, they're using 3 or 4 cameras and shooting it all at once, and then the scene's over, and then you go home. at the time I was actually commuting from the state of Alabama, and I was coming in. I would do my work, and I would go home to a friend's apartment I was staying at, and I would fly back to Alabama. And I didn't have a big social life when I was doing Guiding Light, so they were just, at the end of the day, a lot of these situations are like, it's just about the work. So my memories are all in the dialogue and in the character and working with, like, you know, with Riva and people like that, like, you know, that's the iconic actors that you grew up watching, that, you know, you got to experience these moments with. I mean, for me, my memories are really inside this fictional world. They're not in just this. They're not in my experience as Brian Gaskill, but more as, in this case, Dylan Lewis. So, I mean, I don't know. I liked being, my best memory of that is acting father to a teenage girl, because it was like the first time that, usually I was playing like a younger character, and I was in my late 30s by this point, and they had this kid in as a teenager. Yes, when they were teenagers in the story. So to have a teenage girl at that time where I could, you know, if it was me and my mother, that would have been the age difference that we had. And so it was, I liked playing that dynamic. But again, the memories are sort of with the character more than they are with me.
Ok, ovviamente era un periodo un po' particolare, perché anche a registrare le scene in quel periodo per risparmiare, chiamavano gli attori appunto versione recurring status, per soltanto quando servivano, quindi spesso entravano in scena, giravano le loro scene, poi uscivano. Lui tra l'altro era un quindi si spostava, non viveva lì nello stato di New York dove giravano la soap opera, ma pendolava con l'Alabama. Quindi per lui era un po' come entrare in teatro, e faceva le sue scene e poi usciva appunto di scena dal palco. Non aveva una vita molto sociale, quindi non frequentava molte all'esterno, e quindi lui veniva soltanto per lavorare, faceva il suo e poi ritornava a casa. Ovviamente per lui è stato un onore recitare con attori di grande calibro come Kim Zimmer, come Riva, lo sappiamo, quindi con questi personaggi con cui siamo cresciuti, questi personaggi iconici. Però a parte quello, insomma, non ha dei ricordi in particolare. Ricorda che interpretava il suo ruolo era quello del padre dell'adolescente problematica, che appunto era Daisy, e quindi questo ruolo padre-figlia per lui, insomma, era importante da gestire, perché cercava di svilupparlo al meglio, insomma, in tutte le loro dinamiche.
Brian, abbiamo un altro video per te, guarda un po' con noi.
One more video for you.
Okay. I'm scared.
Do you really think this is just about me getting in your pants?
Is there something else?
Yeah, you. You're something else. I just want to be taken seriously in your life as Daisy's father.
And you thought that kissing me would do that?
I didn't mean that. It happened.
It happened twice.
Okay, look, I'm not saying that since me moving back to Springfield and spending so much time with you and Daisy that some old feelings haven't been stirred up.
No kidding.
They have. Okay, well, all right. And that's my problem. That's my problem to deal with. I mean, I get it. I get that Gus is the guy you
Gus,
want.
my husband,
right, he's
yes.
your husband. Gus is your husband, but there's nothing about that fact that should take away that I want a real relationship with my daughter.
You
And
had a
that's
real
all I want.
relationship with your daughter. Wasn't it you who had the DVD marathon with her the other night? Wasn't that you?
Yes, but I want something steady, a regular family night. Us as a family, you, me, and Daisy.
I like that part a lot. That whole section of the story I liked probably the most time I was there.
Dice che gli è piaciuto molto quelle scene, gli è piaciuto molto recitare, insomma, anche con quegli attori appunto come Beth Ehlers, che ricordiamo una grande protagonista.
Sì.
Allora abbiamo ancora
Senti Ross, scusami, volevo soltanto dire che, insomma, a chi ci segue, che farai tu questa domanda che ci tieni particolarmente appunto a fare, quindi ti passiamo la parola.
Sì, in Italia ti abbiamo anche visto recitare in uno dei tuoi primi lavori che si chiamava Models Inc. Cosa ricordi di quella produzione? In Italy we also saw you acting in one of your first works, Models Inc. What do you remember about that series?
Well, I went to Hollywood. I had just done a play in Cleveland, Ohio, and there was a Tony Award-winning actress I was in the play with named Elizabeth Franz, and she sort of convinced me I should go to Hollywood. So once the play was over, I went back to New York and then basically bought my ticket. And for my birthday in 1994, I was going to head out to Los Angeles, and so I went. It was 5 days after the Northridge quake in 1994, and it was a big earthquake, and I was a little freaked out about going out there, but I just went and started auditioning. And strangely, this doesn't happen often, so I don't know if it's a blessing or a curse, but within 3 months of being in Hollywood, after college, I was starring in Models Inc., a primetime TV show. And then it was like a huge whirlwind. Usually when you get a part like that, you don't know if the show is going to actually be on TV. You don't know if you're going to stay in the cast. And in this case, we were cast, and we were going to be on TV that summer before even the fall shows came on. And a couple weeks later, we were being interviewed on Entertainment Tonight and all of these things. And it was kind of overwhelming. Now, to be honest, and a lot of people know this about me who follow me, I'm completely blessed and honored to have had that experience in my life. However, dramatically, what that show wasn't exactly my favorite thing in the world. But it didn't matter then. I was young. I was thrilled. I just wanted to be in Hollywood, and 2 seconds later, I was starring on a primetime show. So I was like, I'll take it. Whatever it is, I'm there. And I just, we had fun with it, and it is what it is. My memories are, whether or not I really liked the show, the cast was a lot of fun. And there were just good people. I've been blessed to meet a lot of good people in my life. Carrie-Anne Moss, who went on to star as Trinity in The Matrix, was just a really special person back then. Linda Gray, who played my mother. That was kind of weird because I was growing up with my mother watching her on Dallas, and just coming into that world of just being like, okay, we're hanging out now. And she sort of like made herself my West Coast mother. And it was really, there's so many good things, and it's exciting, and it was sort of the Hollywood mythological experience, but it was also really kind of scary and overwhelming, and was a lot of positives and negatives at the time. Just a lot of stuff going on but it was an experience. It was a huge experience that I'm grateful for, having that moment where I got to go to LA, and all of a sudden okay, dude, you're starring on a TV show, and it was fun.
Ok, dice che è stata un'occasione perché si trovava, insomma, era andato a a lavorare a Hollywood e aveva appena recitato a Cleveland e aveva appena finito una commedia che si chiamava Elizabeth France e ha trovato questa occasione di recitare, di partecipare a questa produzione appunto che si chiamava Model Sync, e stiamo parlando appunto del 1994 e per lui è iniziata una grande avventura. All'inizio non sapeva nemmeno cosa gli stesse aspettando, perché si parlava, ha cominciato quella produzione in estate, ma non sapeva poi come sarebbe andato poi durante l'autunno, e lui si è trovato travolto da questo turbine e ha iniziato a lavorare con attori e con attrici importanti, come ad esempio la Carrie-Anne Moss, che aveva recitato in Matrix, o l'attrice Linda Gray, molto famosa per il suo ruolo di Sue in Dallas. Quindi per lui è stata un'occasione d'oro e che l'ha arricchito parecchio, e per lui è stato come una specie di esperienza mitologica, no? Della mitologia di Hollywood, che è stata veramente travolgente. E poi, ma alla fine, insomma, la serie dopo la prima stagione è stata sospesa purtroppo, e quindi si è dovuto dedicare ad altro.
Brian, nella tua carriera di attore, quale altro ruolo ti è piaciuto interpretare e perché?
In your acting career, what other role did you like to play and why?
You mean like you're looking into the future?
No, in the past.
What would I have liked to play?
Yeah.
You mean like real things that do exist? Like, or just something like an idea? I mean, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, in the past, present, future, I would like to do some things that were my favorite is really very kind of more like, honestly, like a lot of non-English language films that are just more diverse in emotion, like their drama, their comedy, they're humanistic, they're honest about human behavior, and you know they're just like, I think I am more, in a lot of ways, a lot more European in my sentimentality in terms of the way I see the world, and whereas a lot of the acting jobs you get are quite often just like you're playing a very specific role in a very specific genre, and I just like more just being a complete human character. So, and that sounds weird probably, but it doesn't happen all the time for most actors. You're the bad guy, or you're the good guy, or you're the lover, and you hopefully as an actor you can try to bring more emotional diversity to the role, but you're quite often sometimes directed to get rid of that and keep it, you know. Even on Models Inc., there were times where I was trying to make choices that maybe brought a little humor to the situation, or maybe it was a little quirky, and they'd be like, yeah, that's really cool, but not on this show. You know, like and I understood that's just not the show they were making, and it was their show, not mine. But ideally, I would have liked and would like to do more stuff that just when I watch stuff, I learn from it. I experience what it's like to be alive and be human, and that's what my goal as an actor was to bring that sort of cathartic experience to other people. So that's really my desire. When I was a little kid, I probably just wanted to be Luke Skywalker in Star Wars, but now I just, I just want, I don't know, I just want to be more, just allow myself to be more human in front of the camera and see where that takes me.
Ok, dice che per quanto riguarda il passato, il presente, il futuro, gli è sempre piaciuto comunque interpretare, fare insomma le sue cose preferite, quindi per lui è molto importante essere, manifestare, insomma esprimere al meglio il lato umano delle persone, quindi sia nei loro drammi, nelle commedie, in qualunque genere, per lui è importante cercare di mettere in evidenza il lato umano dei suoi personaggi. Quindi quando reciti un ruolo molto specifico, per lui è importante immedesimarsi in un personaggio per renderlo umano proprio completamente. Ma non succede spesso perché la maggior parte, soprattutto il pubblico, si limita soltanto a quello che all'apparenza, quindi per lui, per il pubblico, tu sei solo bravo o sei cattivo e quindi sì, vieni soltanto etichettato in quella maniera, ma anche per quanto riguarda il Model Sync ci sono momenti in cui lui stava cercando di apportare delle scelte che potevano portare anche un po' di umorismo, no? Alle situazioni del suo personaggio e che potevano sembrare anche un po' bizzarre. Però fondamentalmente lui ha sempre cercato di sottolineare il lato umano dei suoi personaggi.
Ross, la prossima domanda è la tua.
Sì, quindi per quanto riguarda un altro dei tuoi lavori, abbiamo sentito parlare di una romantic dramedy, The Bachelor's Valentine. What can you tell us about this romantic dramedy, The Bachelor's Valentine?
Well, that's a great segue to what we were just talking about, because that was a billion times more closer to the kind of stuff that I really dream of doing. And actually, I hadn't done anything in a while, and I went to set on this movie just as like a personal goal for me. Was I was going to just allow myself to be 100% available emotionally and to completely just be myself and all my quirks and all whatever I normally try to hide or think is like imperfect about me, and just put that in front of the camera. And that's what that movie is for me, and that's what I love to do more of. This particular movie is a sweet little story about a middle-aged man who lost his wife, who died like 12 years before, and he's basically lived very quietly to himself, has become very introverted, isn't really interested in relationships. And this woman comes to town, and his daughter sees kind of a spark with them, and sort of, kind of pushes this relationship forward. And it's a very simple, quiet little script that us as the actors, and we're able to, the writer did a great job creating a sort of palette for us to get to, just like I wanted to do, just exist in front of the camera and to let this relationship slowly grow without having to rush it, because you just existed, and you just let the chemistry happen, and you just let the moments happen organically, and I hope that's what people get when they watch it, that it's a sweet little story that it's a human experience. It's probably a story told a million times, but this is just a slightly different angle with different actors, and we bring our own heart to it. And that's, I brought my heart 200% to this, and I really hope people can find it and watch it. I'm not sure it's available in Italy, but hopefully soon.
Ok, era contento di questa domanda perché appunto si collegava molto bene con quello di cui stavamo parlando poc'anzi, perché quel ruolo gli ha dato parecchie soddisfazioni, gli ha permesso di fare molte delle cose che gli piacevano. Parla praticamente di un signore, di un uomo che aveva perso la moglie, che era morta 12 anni prima, e che quindi era parecchio, insomma, solo e con se stesso. E poi il copione era abbastanza semplice, quindi abbastanza genuino, gli ha permesso poi di conoscere attraverso la figlia un'altra donna con cui è scoccata un'altra scintilla, e tramite, insomma, le esperienze che ha vissuto quel personaggio, lui ha potuto fargli vivere, insomma, un'esperienza molto umana, una storia genuina, raccontata molte volte, ma che ha un punto di vista leggermente diverso rispetto alle altre storie, con attori diversi, e lui veramente ci ha messo il cuore, l'anima per questo progetto, e quindi, insomma, è molto contento del risultato.
Tu lungo la tua carriera hai trascorso molti anni scrivendo, dirigendo video musicali e anche dipingendo, e infine hai scritto la sceneggiatura Jazz Mix e Movie. Di cosa si tratta? Ci puoi raccontare?
Throughout your career, you have spent many years writing, directing music videos, and painting. And finally, you wrote the screenplay Just Makes a Movie. What is it about?
It's sort of about me. I mean, it's like very meta in the sense that, I don't know if you're familiar with a director and writer named Charlie Kaufman. He wrote Adaptation and Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and I guess you could say he was part of my inspiration. The sort of magical realism of the story combined with sort of talking about himself, but also not being 100% truthful, and just, creating this sort of world where basically I, as a character named Christopher Zoe, who turns out that's his stage name, his real name is Brian Richard Gaskill, he's being interviewed by this documentary filmmaker who's this young woman who graduated from the same university and is a fan for different reasons that you become aware of in the script. And she's basically doing a documentary about me. And through that, you discover why this is happening, you discover more about my life, you discover maybe things I'm lying about, you discover things that, aren't 100% truthful, some things that are, and it's all done through this sort of, speaking of Italy, I would say it's a very Fellini-esque script, and hopefully film someday. We're supposed to be starting soon, looking for investors, and it's like Fellini meets Jean-Luc Godard meets Charlie Kaufman meets, it's really, this is my dream. If it doesn't get made, that's okay too, because that must mean in some fate kind of way that it wasn't meant to be, because it's really honest, and it's really putting my entire heart on my sleeve for the world to see. And if they weren't meant to see it, then so be it. But it would be a dream come true if we could make this movie the way that I dream of it being made, and it to be this sort of independent film, kind of European magical realism, sort of true story of my life kind of thing. That would be like the cherry on top. But I've made it my goal to find a cherry on top in my life, whether or not this movie gets made. So, but in the meantime, I'm so glad that I finally wrote a whole script and expressed myself in a way that I'm really proud of. And we'll see what happens. But right now, it's just a script. It's just a script. And, but we've got some people attached, and hopefully we can get the money and make the movie. But it's always a scary thing, because God knows, maybe it'll suck, but I don't. But it's a good script. I'm really proud of it. So it's the combination of everything I would dream of making, for sure.
Ok, ricorda che la sceneggiatura di questo Jazz Makes a Movie riguarda più o meno lui, quindi vuole dire che nel senso ha scritto l'adattamento di Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, che in italiano è stato tradotto con Se mi lasci ti cancello, e era un tipo di qualcosa di particolare, quindi un tipo di realismo magico all'interno di quella storia. E ricorda anche che c'era il personaggio di Christopher Zoe, che si scopre poi che il suo vero nome era Brian Richard Gaskill, appunto, e che è un'opera molto particolare perché la sceneggiatura era parecchio era davvero qualcosa di unico, perché è come lui ha citato anche grandi artisti come Fellini o Charlie Kaufman, e quindi per lui è stato veramente come un suo sogno che si veniva a realizzare. Per questo motivo è stata un'esperienza davvero formativa che non riuscirà, insomma, a dimenticare facilmente.
Sappiamo che sei un bravo artista, ma quando è nato il tuo amore per l'arte?
We know you are a good artist. I like painting, so I know that is just a hobby. But when was your love for art born?
All my life, really. When I was a little kid, before I wanted to be an actor, I wanted to be an animator for Walt Disney, for Disney Studios. But I gave it up pretty young, started acting, and I didn't draw as much. I didn't paint at all. I just had this idea of perfection in my head that I just couldn't get on the canvas or on the paper, and I just backed off of it and I stopped training. And then years and years later, 2020, COVID hits the world. I'm in lockdown, and I was staying in an art studio in upstate New York, and there was an easel and a canvas, and I just started painting. And it was, but I had reached a point in my life because I had also taught acting to kids and stuff. So, and I had experienced it enough in my life through acting that things weren't always going to be perfect. And in fact, quite often what I would see on screen when I thought it was quote unquote perfect, it wasn't as interesting to me as the times where I thought I was completely screwing up. So I was like, oh, there's something, not that my goal is to screw up, but there's something to accidents and just being your organic voice, whether it be as an actor or a painter or whatever. So because I had gone through that with acting, I was more free with my painting and more accepting of my particular expression and my particular voice as an artist. And I just didn't stop. I just kept going, and I kind of felt like I rediscovered the, people talk about the child inside, and that's kind of, I guess, what I sort of discovered again. It just, being that part of me, being an artist, was like finding some innocence in me again. It sort of brought me back to life in a lot of ways.
Ok, thank you. Quindi dice che per tutta la sua vita lui aveva sempre desiderato di disegnare i cartoni animati come faceva Walt Disney, quindi di essere un artista come Walt Disney che creava i cartoni animati. Poi però la vita è fatta di scelte e anche di rinunce, quindi aveva scelto la recitazione, aveva messo accantonato da parte quell'arte lì. Poi, come già avevamo accennato in precedenza, durante il 2020 il lockdown, durante il Covid, si è ritrovato da solo, quindi a New York, aveva un cavalletto, aveva una tela e ha iniziato a dipingere. E per lui è stato qualcosa di particolare, perché in precedenza lui aveva anche insegnato recitazione ai bambini e cose del genere, e ha avuto l'occasione di portare sulla tela anche quelle sue esperienze e di trasmettere quindi sulla tela attraverso i colori qualcosa appunto di suo, di personale. E per lui è stato come ritrovare un po' l'innocenza che si ha da bambini, e quindi per questo è molto contento dei suoi dipinti.
Brian, abbiamo un video per te.
There is another video for you.
Bellissimi, wonderful,
Thank you.
wonderful.
Grazie.
Brian, ma ti sei mai ispirato a qualche altro artista, oppure magari hai un artista preferito?
Have you ever been inspired by any other artist, or do you have any favorite artists?
My favorite artist is probably someone who doesn't inspire my art, because I can't touch what he does, but Edward Hopper is probably my favorite artist. As far as the rest of it, the typical stuff like Van Gogh, the Expressionists, which are always inspiring because they're the first ones that said, we don't have to make this real. It's kind of like that's already been done. And quite often, I kind of feel that way. Like when I see somebody who does a photo perfect painting or drawing, or like these pencil drawings that look like black and white photographs, I'm kind of like, okay, that's amazing that you can do that, but why? Because just take a photo. Just get it done. Take a photo. Whereas I want to see like the artist's emotion and expression. I did a short film that I wrote called The Audition. And I have a speech that I wrote in that where I basically say something like, I just want, and he's talking about a relationship in life, but it's metaphor about art. And he says, I just want to throw paint on the canvas. I just want to trust that whatever it is, whatever it turns out to be, will be art. And that thing called art will be a thing called love, and people will analyze it and criticize it and dissect a moment that I never really understood to begin with, except that I just wanted to cover you with my paint and show you what color the world is for me, because it's all you. And the idea is just like, that's what's beautiful to me, is not the craft or the skill as much as who that individual artist is, and that moment in time where they chose a certain color and a certain brush to go a certain way. And regardless of the skill involved, that moment in time is never going to exist again, except for when they decided to express themselves that way. And that's any artist that does that is what I'm mostly attracted to.
Ok, dice una cosa molto bella, che probabilmente il suo artista preferito è qualcuno che non lo ispira, perché che non ispira la sua arte, perché appunto preferisce scindere le due cose. Tra gli altri lui ammira molto Edward Hopper o Van Gogh, quindi gli espressionisti, tutti artisti meravigliosi. Però lui ha sempre fatto altro. Poi per quanto riguarda l'arte, parla anche di quelli che fanno iperrealismo. Lui quando guarda quelle opere dice sì, bello, fantastico, è meraviglioso che tu riesca a farlo, ma poi si chiede ma perché? perché fare un'opera di iperrealismo quando ti basterebbe scattare una foto e finisce lì? Lui vorrebbe vedere in un'opera, più che la perfezione, qualcosa di diverso, quindi l'emozione, l'espressione che ha appunto l'artista che mette nelle proprie opere. Quindi per lui l'arte è proprio questo, non soltanto copiare pedissequamente.
Hai un sogno nel cassetto, un progetto futuro da raccontarci?
Do you have any secret dreams or plans for the future?
Oh, I hope they include living an easier life. Nothing secret. I just, maybe my dream, and I don't know if I got to do it, if it would be everything that I thought it would be, but I, going back to Europe, like I would like to. First of all, I've never been out of the United States. One thing led to another. Back when I had lots of money, I didn't have the time, and then I had the time but no money, and I really, I want to travel through Europe, the rest of the world too, but really a lot of Europe, but I also like the idea of just being someplace for a long time, and just experiencing a community, and just kind of, so if in my old age I got to live in a European country for a while, even just a few months, but like that would be my secret dream, to sort of experience that. Other than that, I just, my desire is to, the business in Hollywood is very different. I can't follow it all the time these days, but I would like to get back to work as an actor and do more of the kind of stuff that I talked to you about. But other than that, I just want to keep growing as a person, and I want to see the world and see, what other kind of people are out there, and there's a line Kevin Costner directed and stars in a movie called Dances with Wolves, and he says he wants to see the frontier before it's gone. Well, I think there are probably no frontiers left, but they're my own personal frontiers. They're places that I have not seen, to the point that, like, when I see pictures of Europe, it all seems like a fantasy to me, and I would just want to see it in person so I know it's actually there. I mean, obviously I'm talking to you guys, so it must be there, but still, we're just on a phone. It might all be pretend. I don't know. You can't prove to me you're really in Italy. I'm just kidding. But I would, my secret would be is I would like to go live in another country for a while.
Ok, dice che per quanto riguarda non ha nulla dei suoi progetti, non c'è nulla di segreto, gli piacerebbe vivere insomma una vita tranquilla, serena, gli piacerebbe continuare a fare quello che ha fatto, gli piacerebbe pure che le cose a Hollywood girassero in maniera diversa, gli piacerebbe tornare a lavorare un po' di più. Però non nasconde che gli piacerebbe, visto che è stato sempre negli Stati Uniti e non è mai stato in Europa, gli piacerebbe anche visitare insomma l'Europa, e quindi anche visitare, vivere per un po' in un paese diverso, per appunto conoscere meglio altre situazioni diverse insomma da quelle che ha vissuto. Ha citato anche il film di Kevin Costner, Balla coi lupi, a proposito di frontiere e così via, e quindi per lui sarebbe importante oltrepassare queste frontiere per vivere un'esperienza diversa. E noi ovviamente lo aspettiamo qui quando vorrà venire. You know, when you know to come here in Europe, we are waiting for you. So,
grazie.
No problem.
Allora, noi siamo arrivati alla fine di questa chiacchierata, e visto che insomma ti aspettiamo in Italia, ci hai promesso che verrai, giusto?
Yes, you promise you will come here.
I would love to. Well, my family is. I'm a quarter Italian and Sicilian, so I'm Italy is one of the places that are very, very high on my list.
So, quindi sappiamo che hai delle origini italiane, quindi non sei mai stato quindi nel nostro paese, però ti piacerebbe venire da queste parti prima o poi. Lui dice che è per un quarto italiano, per un quarto siciliano, e ha anche origini un po' svedesi, se non ricordo male. Are you Sweden in origin, right? Something like from the north. I can't remember the country.
Yes, I'm Swedish and Italian and Lithuanian.
Ok,
mostly, yeah.
Sì, come ricordavo, un po' siciliano, un po' svedese. Sai qualcosa della tua famiglia, delle origini della tua famiglia in Italia, forse in Sicilia? Do you know anything about your origin, your roots in Sicily?
Just that it's near Palermo. I mean, my great grandmother's name, her maiden name was Catita, or no, that's her married. I don't know her maiden name, but her married name was Catita. But I don't know. She came over. My great grandmother came over very young. I do know. I spoke to one of her sons, one of my uncles, once, and he said, "Yeah, I went back to Sicily, and my mother always talked about this grand cathedral in her hometown, and then he got there and he found it, but it was just this tiny little church. But because she was a little girl when she left, she always, in her mind, it was so huge, so grande."
Ok, non sa molto delle sue origini, però potremmo scoprirlo insieme, quindi lanciamo un appello. No, era uno scherzo, non però ricorda appunto il cognome della nonna materna, quindi non il nome da nobile, che era Cutitta, e che appunto le origini sono di Cinisi, quindi vicino Palermo, e quindi ricorda se gli avevano parlato di questi nonni, di questi zii che provenivano da quelle parti. Quindi se ci state ascoltando, se siete in ascolto, se vi riconoscete, potete per fare questa carambata con Brian. Ok.
Allora,
Sì.
siamo arrivati alla fine di questa chiacchierata. Noi ti ringraziamo tantissimo, Brian, di essere stato qui con noi e di avere ricordato, insomma, le tue interpretazioni, la tua carriera e la tua arte.
Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us, for accepting this interview. You are very a good actor and a good person. So thank you so much, and we hope.
Thank you, grazie.
To see you next time here in Italy. Ok?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Allora, prima di lasciarci vi ricordiamo di seguire tutti i nostri social, Facebook, Twitter e Instagram di Mi Amor TV, The Live House, e di iscrivervi al canale YouTube Mi Amor TV e The Live House, e il blog sempre aggiornato, tvlivereunion.wordpress.com. Detto ciò, grazie per essere stati con noi e noi ci vediamo alla prossima puntata, sempre con mucha alegria.
Ciao,
Grazie Brian. Thank you very much.
Ciao.
Vi abbiamo presentato Parlami di Te, un programma a cura di Daria Graziosi, Salvatore Esposito e Rosario Paolo Saia, realizzato in collaborazione con Mass Media Comunicazione e TV Live Reunion. Ha partecipato Brian Gaskill. Hanno presentato Daria Graziosi, Salvatore Esposito e Rosario Paolo Saia. Musiche di Eugenia Marino. Supervisione e regia Marcello Marino. Si ringraziano Max Di Benedetto, Sante Cosentino e Roberto Mallò. Video disponibile su The Live House. Iscrivetevi!